Are you learning about CSS Basics for Beginners and want to know all about CSS list styling, what it is and how to use it in a real-world project? If so, you're in the right place. Hi, Martin here from MDP Web Development. Today we'll be working on a project that we'll use as a reference project throughout the Web Development for Beginners playlist. Don't forget to check out the playlist from the start to get a better understanding of HTML and our reference project. It's updated each week with new videos. Be sure to stick around to the end to see how to get the project files on GitHub to use throughout this playlist. I'll link to important videos there also. There's a link in the description down below to the GitHub repository where all the source code is. Let's get started.
Before we go on, be sure to watch the Visual Studio Code Editor video. It explains how to get and set up VS Code for use in the Web Development for Beginners playlist. And also watch the video on creating your first web page. I'll link to them in the description below. Here's a summary to get you started. First, create a folder on your desktop and call it Reference Project. Next, download and install Visual Studio Code Editor for your operating system from the link in the description. Open VS Code, then open this folder and create a new file called index.html. In the file content, type an exclamation mark and hit enter. This should create a new standard document for you. Open the file from the desktop folder and it should be a blank page as we have not put any content in it yet. If you get stuck, just watch these videos first.
CSS list styles. List style type. We can have many different types. We can have circle, square, upper Roman characters or lower alpha characters. We can have list style type equal to none to remove the default styles. You might do this if you had a list of links on your navigation and you wanted to remove the bullet points from the list. List style position can be inside or outside its main container. You can also style lists with colors, from the main UL to the list items to the text itself inside the ULs. You can use list style backgrounds and colors. Here we can see on the top we have an unordered list. We can see the HTML is UL and item 1, 2 and 3. And on the right we can see the bullet points beside item 1, 2 and 3. On the bottom we have an ordered list. It simply means it goes in order 1, 2 and 3. List style type is very important. Here we can see list style type with a circle for icons. Here we can see list style type set to a square. And here we can see list style type set to upper Roman characters. And here we can see lower alpha characters, A, B and C, as a list style type. Here we can see list style type equal to none. We can just see item 1, item 2 and item 3 with no bullet points. List style position. Here we can see an example of list style position outside the main box. Item 1, 2 and 3 and the bullet point outside. Here we can see an example of list style position inside. We can see the bullet point and the item text is actually inside the box. CSS list color styling. We can see in this example, UL for unordered list on the top of the HTML has background color set to sky blue. So you can see the sky blue on the right. Then you can see UL list item. In other words, each list item in the UL, we can see background color has orange. So that's why you see orange on the right instead of the sky blue, because the list items are set to orange. And then we can see color blue. Color means the color of the text that's actually in the list items. So we can see the bullet point and item 1, item 2 and item 3 are set to blue. Hi, before we move on, please don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe so you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. Thank you.
So now we're going to open Visual Studio Code and our project and a browser window on the right to preview our project. It's going to go to our desktop and double click on Visual Studio Code. Then we're going to go to the Explorer view and open folder. And mine is on the desktop, so I'm going to go Desktop, Reference Project, select Folder. And here we can see we have our HTML file. If we open the browser view, we can see the reference project folder and the index.html file we created. Now to see the browser window on the right, if you have the live server extension installed, you'll see Go Live button down here on the bottom. And if you haven't, you just have to go out to your desktop, open the folder, and click on the index.html file. So once you've clicked on that file, we're just going to click this Go Live button here. And that'll start up a new browser server window for us. So a handy shortcut for Windows to put something on the left and right is to press the Windows key and then right or left arrow and release the Windows key. Then select the one you want on the left or right. So I'll close this panel. So another handy shortcut for Windows is the zoom key. If you press CTRL, then the plus to zoom in and negative to zoom out. So we can see here we have our Windows browser on the right. So the only difference if we had to open this manually on the desktop and click on the file is if we make changes on the left in our code editor, you would have to click refresh on the right to see it.
So let's go ahead and apply some different list styles to our web development reference project. We can see here on the left we have vscode open, and on the right we have our server. So in our project, let's open our index.html page and also our CSS mystyle CSS file. We can see here on the right hand side we have our HTML reference section, and here's our list. This is an ordered list 1, 2, 3, 4 of links we've built already in a previous video. And we can see on the left here, if we scroll down the HTML section, we can see the header. Then we can see the ordered list here with 1, 2, 3, 4 links. So another handy shortcut is CTRL and plus to zoom in. So there's the ordered list we'll try. Let's style some CSS. And in our CSS, we can see here from previous videos we've set the body, font, color and size. We've set the heading to uppercase to bold. We set the paragraph size for font. And we've even set HTML colors, CSS colors and JavaScript colors. And padding large. And also margin large top and bottom to make it look as it does. So let's do some CSS styling on the lists here for the HTML section. CTRL and plus to zoom in on your browser. And our HTML ordered list is here. So first, let's just do some practice and go into our CSS file. Then down at the bottom, for ordered list, we're going to go OL, open and close curly brackets. Now let's just set the list style type to see what it looks like. And again, when you start typing, VS Code will autocomplete. List style type, and it's set to disk. We can see on the right hand side, the list style type is now a roundy disk. Let's just see what else VS Code will let us set that to. Now we've set it. Let's just set that to square. Again, save your project and refresh your browser if you don't see any changes. We can see now on the right, the list style type is square. And now we'll set it to circle, and we can see it's now circle. Cool. So let's just remove that now and style our lists to make it look nice. Again, we'll zoom out, CTRL and minus. on our browser. I will now set some styles for the lists. First, let's set the background color to these lists. So you can see up here, the way we've done it is we just have the class. Here's one, for example, JavaScript colors, and then the color inside it. Then we just apply that class to wherever we want to put that color. So underneath JavaScript colors, let's just create ordered lists, or just list colors. So we'll go OL for ordered list. And we just set the background color to white for now. And we can see here on the right hand side, the background color has changed to white. That will set it for all ordered lists. We can see here the unordered list doesn't get affected because we've set it for ordered lists here on the left. So the way we'll actually do this to keep in line with our classes and to reuse our classes, instead of saying ordered list, let's just call our custom class list BG, list background. So I go dot for class, list hyphen BG. Let's change that to list color BG. Now anywhere we put this list color BG will be white. We'll put it on any list that we want to be white, in case we want some ordered lists or ordered lists not to be white. List color BG. So let's just copy out that class. Now you can see here we have our ordered list. So if we apply that class to this ordered list, and that should change back to white again. So class equals, and then brackets in quotes, list color BG. And again, click save on your project and refresh in your browser if you don't see the changes. We can see now here our list background is set to white. And of course we haven't applied that to any other list, so you can see the other lists are not affected. So now let's go down and put it on some of the other lists. Let's try the CSS reference section list. So when we scroll down here, we can see the section, class CSS colors. This is our CSS section. We can see the reference here. And here's our unordered list. Again, let's apply that class with the background color white to this unordered list also. This is a handy way to do it, to reuse code and to have as little CSS written in our CSS file as possible. This will be explained in later videos for website performance and optimization. So in our unordered list, we'll go class equals to list color BG. We can see here vscode has just auto-completed, so if we go down and click enter, it'll put that value in first. And now we can see the CSS reference section list has a background color of white. So let's go ahead and do that now also for the JavaScript section. And here's the unordered list in the JavaScript section. Again, we'll go class and hit enter. List color BG, and just click down and enter. And vscode will auto-complete it. Again, click save on your project, file save or CTRL+S, or refresh on your browser if you don't see the changes. Now, while we're styling our lists, we can see here that the list style background color is white. But we can also see that there's no space or anything around each item, and it looks really cluttered up and squashed up. So let's put some padding inside here. We're going to put padding inside this one here for the HTML section. So we can see here, in order to reuse code and reuse CSS and have our CSS file as small and compact as possible, we've already set a class called padding large. So any element we apply this class to will get large padding. We've applied it to the sections here, HTML reference, CSS and JavaScript. Again, padding means around the content, which are the links between the content and the border. So if we apply this padding large class to our ordered list here, we should see it look much better. And the links won't be squashed up against the top and the bottom, as you can see. So how cool is that? We don't have to write any new CSS. We just apply this padding large class to any ordered list we want to put padding large into, a run ordered list. So let's try it on our HTML reference section. So we can see here we've set our list color BG to, that's white. Now let's go ahead and just attach our padding large class to the ordered list we're looking at for HTML reference. And again, vscode is auto-completed the fact that padding large already exists, so just hit enter. And then when you click save on your project or refresh in your browser, we can see now that large padding is in place inside the ordered list on the right hand side in the HTML section. It looks much better, doesn't look as cramped up. Now let's go ahead and apply that handy class we already have for padding large to the CSS reference section. So we'll scroll down to the CSS reference section. We just set the colors here in the unordered list. So now let's attach that padding large class in here also. Again, hit enter because VS Code has recognized it already exists, and save and refresh on your browser. And there we can see there's a bit more space around it. Now let's do the same for the JavaScript section. We scroll down to our unordered list in JavaScript section. And we can see here, we'll put the new class in here. We have the list color background set to white. We'll put in our padding large class here also. Again, CTRL and S to save your project or file save and refresh on your browser if you don't see the changes. How cool is that? We had to write no CSS to put padding inside our lists. We already have the padding large.
So to get the files used in this example, the HTML reference project, just go to the GitHub link that's down in the description of this video. You can have a look at it here. So a GitHub repository is just a location on the internet hosted by a company called Git that most developers like to share or store their code in, either for their own use or to share with other developers. The repository on GitHub is just a folder used to store code or files, etc. Let's have a look at each folder. So when we're in the repository here, you can see the name of the repository there, actions along the top. You can see the main folder here, and there's a README file too. So if you want, you can just click onto the folders and see what's inside them and download the code from there. But to get all the code, you're going to go over here to the code button. We're going to click and download zip file. Once that's downloaded, go into your downloads folder. Then we need to extract it. So we're going to Windows, you're going to right click and extract all. Now let's just have a look at these files in VS Code. So we're going to go to our desktop. We're going to open up Visual Studio Code. And now we're going to open the folder that we just extracted. Open folder on the left. And we're going to go to Downloads. And here we are. And you can see here on the Explorer view on the left, there's the folder we can click to expand. And here's the reference project folder. And here's the HTML file, so we'll click on that, and there's the code. You can use this for reference or to rebuild your project if something goes wrong.
Hi, I hope you found this video helpful. If so, please like, share, comment and subscribe so you don't miss out on any upcoming videos in the Web Development for Beginners playlist. See you next time.